Good morning. Welcome to Substitute Tuesday. This Tuesday we're going to be taking a close look about making certain types of breadcrumbs to coat some vegetables and meats that we often need various types of breadcrumbs. I know a lot of times I go to the pantry and I look for commercial breadcrumbs, and I can't find that panko because I've used the last of it and somehow it just didn't get included in my shopping list. So there are some alternatives that we can do and some wonderful substitutes. So I have some items here that I wanted to share with you that we can use as substitutes for certain types of meats and certain types of vegetables. And one thing that most of us are pretty aware of is using the coconut on seafood. I love coconut shrimp. It's absolutely awesome, and that's very easy to do. So using that as a bread crumb coating is a wonderful way to do it. Old-fashioned meatloaf. It's one of my favorite, very favorite recipes, and you can use crackers. You could use oats. Oftentimes when we're using different types of breadcrumbs or coatings, we use them to extend the meal, that product that we're preparing. And so oats and meatloaf helps extend that particular meatloaf. Even in meatballs, it can be used in meatballs for an extender also. In casseroles, using certain types of chips. I have some tortilla chips here, but regular chips make a wonderful coating, not only for the topping on casseroles, but also if you're preparing maybe a fish dish. That would be an excellent way to coat some of the pieces of fillets of the fish and so forth. And then an old favorite of mine is using some type of cereal. That's used a lot of times in coating for chicken, just crushing up the cereal flakes and using them to coat maybe some chicken and so forth instead of using a flour coating. So there are various ways that we can use the coatings if we don't have what we usually call breadcrumbs, commercial breadcrumbs. So let's take a look at how we can make homemade breadcrumbs. We're going to make some Italian homemade breadcrumbs. Making homemade breadcrumbs is quick and easy. Just a few steps and we have some wonderful breadcrumbs. Usually in making homemade breadcrumbs, stale or day-old bread is an excellent way to use up what you have left over in your refrigerator. One of the things that I like to do is I like to toast my bread in the toaster. Now you can also toast it in the oven if you like, but I just drop a piece into my toaster, and about 6 slices of bread will make about half a cup of breadcrumbs. There's a couple of ways to season them also. Today we're going to be preparing an Italian seasoned breadcrumb that I'm going to use on some chicken a little bit later. But you could take a clove of garlic and kind of rub your bread with the garlic and put a little bit of olive oil and then pop it in the oven and toast it, and then we're ready to make an Italian breadcrumb. Or I have a lot of different types of spices and a combination of spices to make an Italian topping for our bread. Okay, so I've toasted about 6 slices of bread. I've toasted them in the toaster, and I'm going to kind of just break them up and put them in to my food processor, and I'm going to process them. Okay, you can see that it's pretty dry bread, which is a good way to use up that bread, the last couple of pieces of bread that you have in the sliced bread you have in the loaf. Now, I've been saying a lot about using bread, but you can also use anything like maybe some type of buns would work great in this. You could use a loaf of French bread and cut those pieces and do the same thing. So you're not just limited to using just pieces of bread, sliced types of bread. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can process it. And then we will add our spices, because this one I didn't coat the bread beforehand. We're processing. We processed the breadcrumbs. So now we're ready to add to our breadcrumbs some spices. All right, we're ready to transfer our breadcrumbs now just to a bowl. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do, because we're making Italian breadcrumbs, we're going to add a little bit of thyme to our mixture, about a half a teaspoon, a teaspoon to a half a teaspoon, depending on how. Okay, two there. Okay. And a little bit of oregano. Going to add, I think we're going to add maybe a fourth of a teaspoon. Okay, there we go. Okay, to it. And then a little bit of parsley. Not much, but just a little bit of parsley helps. Okay, there we go. All right, and the last spice is going to be a little bit of garlic that we want to add. And I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of garlic. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we're ready to kind of stir our mixture. We have all of our spices mixed for our Italian seasoning. So now we have our Italian seasoned breadcrumbs that we can use. I'm going to use it on some chicken tonight when I prepare an evening meal. So quick and easy to do, and it was all made from leftover stale bread. For more information, contact the University of Florida Escambia County Extension Service.